Legend of the Cipher, the official trivia game of hip hop.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here with Todd Anderson and Ben Sanchez. They're going to introduce themselves a little later. Our first Legend of the Cipher cast. So, let them introduce themselves, and since they are the creators of the game, I'm simply why they started Legend of the Cipher, how it started, and thought they would be when this started so many years. Why don't you go first, and then Ben, I want you to follow up.
Sure thing.
Okay, well, first, welcome everybody to the Cyphercast. Benjamin and myself met working at a very popular nightclub on Miami Beach, and we would get together after work to eat, and there were times he needed a ride home, and I would provide that. And we'd go and we'd listen to Wu-Tang Clan. I think we primarily started off with, but Ben was kind of new to hip hop as far as the culture and really indulging in it. Our friendship grew out of my love for hip hop and his interest and curiosity. And I think one day we were there participating in some extracurricular activities. In those clouds of smoke, he posed the question, is there a game that embodies hip hop? And I told him I had no idea. I don't know. Magic the Gathering isn't something that I was familiar with from my particular walk of life. Through the idea and learning Magic the Gathering, we came up with the concept for a game, an RPG that would take players into the realm of hip hop.
RPG is, for those who don't know what RPG is.
Role player game, tabletop gaming. Role playing is not just something in video game. People are familiar with Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, those types of games. It puts you in a role of who you're playing as in those games. So we wanted to take that concept and build on it like you were an artist in hip hop. We developed a sparkling game, and years later we developed a second game which paid homage to the real people in hip hop, not so much a figment of the imagination or you taking the reality of something and putting it in a game where people played a role. Our second game was something that paid homage to the real people of hip hop, and it's our hip hop trivia game. And it's been a long walk. After publishing 6 games by now, I think, it was time for us to speak on, our perspectives in hip hops, because our private conversations, we laugh a lot and we learn a lot. We kind of wanted to share that with the rest of the world and what we're doing now, not through just our gamings, but through our voices.
Okay. Ben, follow up with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% on the same page. I was just thinking about the 2 games and how their mechanics differ. One is a tabletop strategy card game where every player raps at least on their turn, and sometimes there are ciphers that go around the table while you're playing a strategy card game that builds sort of a simulated career dynamics for each player, and so they can experience themselves as just any MC or like the MC that they would be. And we've seen some people learn to rap while playing the game. That's an exciting moment. And the flashcard,
exciting.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. The flashcard series, hip hop flash trivia, we've got individual flashcards that are QR enabled. Sorry, I'm old. QR enabled flashcards, and the clues to each MC.
Don't give too much away yet.
I mean, clearly, I think I might be the youngest one here, but still, I noticed there's a mark in my language. But yeah, the hip hop flash trivia are fascinating to me because you can learn an awful lot about an MC through the clues that Todd's put on the cards, and all of the clues are ciphered with song lyrics and album titles and catchphrases. I'm looking forward to turning it into an app. I'd really like to see that automated so where people could do what we have in the flashcards on the phone, but the flashcards are gorgeous. It has been a fun long-term project to try to gamify aspects of the culture and push that as far as we can and make that as juicy and shiny as we can. And yeah, this is mainly about the kinds of questions and conversations that we've had in development and giving people a perspective on that conversation for anyone who's interested.
As far as development goes, and past the initial idea, going to all these conventions and all the ups and downs that come with what we're doing and what we've done without a big fancy team, without any corporate backing or anything like that between Ben and myself. It's taken us 12 years to get to a point where I'm satisfied with the direction that we're going in and the possibilities of not, anything like financially or ego driven, but to make a difference in hip hop as far as, education. Everything is education. If you're not educated, you don't know. A lot of the roots of the problems that we have in hip hop, a lot of the roots of the problems that we have in the culture is because a lack of education. It's because, in that pie chart of time that you have, education is not accentuated within the culture. It's all about, just entertainment. What we want to do and what we've done is we have produced an excellent tool for anybody that wants to learn hip hop, for anybody that's already a lover of hip hop to indulge in. And not only is it fun, but it puts you on to new artists. Like me doing these cards, I've learned so much about people that I thought I knew on top of artists that I'm already familiar with. Like the beauty of this is it takes you out of the TV box. So people see you on TV, and in that moment, you're relevant. But past that, they don't know what's going on with you. They don't know your achievements. They don't know your accomplishments unless they're looking at TV again. So through these cards, people can read about artists they've loved and now know what they're doing and learn about everybody else that maybe you didn't know.
Plus, you can just point your smartphone at the back of the card and you'll be on that person's Wikipedia or website.
Ready to go there. I was just getting ready to go there because you mentioned that earlier with the QR code. Whose idea was it to put the QR code on that'll take you to the artist's Wikipedia page or to their website? Because that's genius.
I'm not sure.
I want to say we came up with it mutually. I want to say it was the pot maybe. Two different guys invented calculus at the same time. This is a very small version of that. Like I think we just kind of both recognized sort of around the same time that it was like you see them on posters everywhere. And
now QR codes are standard in marketing and advertising.
Makes a nice piece of art on the back of the card. Right. I mean, it's physical media connected to the internet.
When you did that, we're ahead of yourselves in that aspect of using the QR so that it would basically, help you guys into not only your game, but to shed light on artists they may not know or may not know about, or just want to know more.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially got the Wikipedia on the back of the card, just in case your interest is piqued and you want to know more. I think it would be kind of fun to maybe have a different barcode on the front, like a smaller one that goes to Spotify as well. So you have the option of reading about the person or listening to them. That could be an interesting little upgrade to the card that we could think about.
I've gotten decks. I have decks. Tell me how you guys came up with 90 decks, because that is crazy. When you talk about some of the old school and the golden, the platinum era, you can go more than 90 artists. How did you come up with 90 as the number to start for a deck?
All right, well, we started off with Game Crafter, looking at the specifics of what we could do. The max number of cards we could put in a flashcard deck were 90. So it was like, all right, well, bet, challenge accepted. We're going maximum. You know what I'm saying? And I believe it worked out for the best, because this is not a game that you can just fly through in one sitting, or, you have your friends over and what have you. This is not a game you can just do in one sitting, especially once you start adding all the individual decks together. Right now, currently, outside of the overlaps in the First Ladies deck, because some of those are in the first 3 decks, but we want to put all the ladies into one deck. I believe it's 327 is what the variety of artists. So 327 artists, influencers, pioneers of hip hop. I don't know anybody that's going to sit down and say, yo, I'm going to knock all these out. You're not going to. Actually, I'm going to school you no matter what you think.
Yeah, now to his point, I've never met anybody who knows them all. I can't imagine that. Like, that's a big pantheon.
I talk about I know hardcore hip hop people that, like, I'll have somebody and they be like, yo, I forgot all about them. Yo, they doing this now? Yo. Then, it goes into just from these cards, from people reading these cards, next thing you know, you got people rapping verses from these people, pulling it up on YouTube because I remember this song. And that's what we wanted to do with the game, because this game is not about us, it's about hip hop. Ultimately, we want those artists that may have been forgotten or what have you, for them to be rediscovered by a whole new audience, by
just from a flashcard.
All from a flashcard.
Yep.
So this game benefits artists way more than it could ever benefit us, and that's kind of the business karma that we're moving forward with. Is that, you know, of course we want a piece of the pie. It's the American dream. But if you're sitting at a table by yourself, how good of a meal is it really?
Amen.
You wanna add to that?
Yeah, I was thinking there while you were talking about my own experience with the flashcards, and you know, these are not people I grew up with. These are not artists I was familiar with coming up. But I think that could be said depending on the person and the mixture of the artists, so that anyone who gets their hands on these,
right?
Because
you'll have somebody from the West Coast that some of these people in the deck they are fully familiar with, and then you might have somebody from, you know, Atlanta that has no idea who that person is. But the opportunity,
because you two guys are the understatesmen here, and I have 50 plus years on this earth. Looking at these cards, at these people, I embody all 4 decks out now. And I know most of them. Some of them I really, you know, most of them I know. But with Todd, knowing that it's 90 cards, how did you find 90 ladies outside of the ladies who Golden Era and the Platinum deck?
Some of them I genuinely knew who they were anyway, and I just had to get rehashed on who they were. But I did my research, I did my homework. You know, through that, you know, I became a student again. I became a student again of hip hop. The first 3 were kind of just from my mind, what I knew already. Like those first 3 decks, I know all those artists. I've listened to their music, all of them. With the First Ladies deck, I got introduced to a bunch of female rappers that I had no idea existed, but they have a fan base, they're dope, and they have a story too. So yeah, I did my research, I did my homework. So now just the consumer's job is to get acquainted.
Just spin through some cards. Scott, do you have cards with you?
Yeah, because
if we have time before this Zoom runs out, or we could do it on the next Zoom, I think it would be fun for Todd and me to play our own game.
I think that's a good idea for the next one.
All right, yeah, cool. We can say it for the next one.
It's the introduction for us, and on the next one, we could actually have some rounds. And I'd ultimately like to expand this to having guests on the show, and for the game, the cards, to become part of the show. Like, we have people on here and they play.
I think
that's
that's what I was getting ready to wrap up with. Where do you want the Legend of the Cipher cast? How would you like it to grow, since you grew everything else to get to where we are? So where would you like the Cipher cast to go?
Well, I think ultimately I'd like for it to become like a game show. And we can pick platforms and formats and what have you. But what we're starting off with now, having artists on, or, you know, anybody, whether they're artists, pioneers, personalities, whoever, invite these people that are from the hip hop community. Because I think a lot of times it gets misconstrued that you have to be a rapper, or you have to be a DJ, or you have to be a graffiti artist, or you got to know how to break dance to be considered a hip hopper. No. Hip hop is how I walk, it's how I talk. You know, chopped cheese. If you're from New York, like, that's a West Indian thing, but that's like, you know, you're going to get some chopped cheese. So it's what we eat too. You know what I'm saying? 4 chicken wings and fried rice. That's hip hop. That's Chinese food, but that's hip hop. That's how many rappers can you think about that have included that in their rhyme? Why? Because it's a staple where we from. We even eat hip hop. So
True that.
I'd like to have different people that consider themselves members of the hip hop community, whether they are artists or not, to come on here, and we come up with lines of questionings for them. And in between the questions, we play the game with them. Then we chop it up a little bit more. And then we play the game. You know, the game is
okay. Ben, go ahead.
You guys know Hot Wings, Hot Ones, First We Feast, where they have people eat spicy chicken wings while they give them questions? Yeah. It could be like a less sadistic version of that.
Right. So while people is playing these games, and trust me, as people, especially industry people, are playing this and certain artists come up, they're gonna have stories. about, I remember the time I was with such and such, and this happened. And you know,
just too much bringing up the card. I think that like it causes any individual to either dig through their memories of the collective culture or realize that they have a blank spot, and it piques curiosity. It's good either way, whether you know the people in the card or not. It stirred up a lot of action. I know that we have a video floating around somewhere where Raw Digga, I think, was reading her own card, and we've done enough live events at this point, and like people shout out Hip Hop Jeopardy spontaneously. It's a good vibe, man. The live events have been really, really good. Like not just fun, but like good. And I think doing that here would also
it gets intense.
Yeah, and I mean,
let's be about people
and captivating.
When you get people that are just talking about, and we got about a minute left, y'all. Once you get people who are talking about the game, you see how heated those arguments get. Just talking about rap and who's better and this, that, and the other. Once you start getting into a competitive, like I know more than you about hip hop, and I can prove it. There's a game, and I can prove it. So
yeah, no, really, right? Put up a shut up.
That's really what it boils down to, right? Who has a better night? 40 seconds. Ben, give me 20 seconds. What would you like to say?
All good things to good people? I don't know, man. Like 20 seconds is not a lot of time. I need 20 seconds just to think. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you very much.
Peace.
Okay, Todd, give me something.
Yo, thanks for tuning in to the Cipher Cast. We'll catch you in the next one. This is Todd, Ben, and Scott. Peace, love, and nappiness. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. You can get your very own copy of Legend of the Cypher's Hip Hop Flash Trivia right now at www.legendofthecipher.com. Peace.